I'm gonna have to.
For better or for worse, like, you know. Oh god, and we got this failure of a party member. I'm not a big fan of Judith, I'll be the first to tell you. I have a... Well, I don't know if we're friends anymore. We're probably still friends. He seems like the kind of person where shit doesn't faze him, but I was in a video game playing group of people, sort of like I wanted to have a Game Grump situation going off. But, excuse me, I would need both of my friends to have personality to also work with me. Excuse me, sorry if I didn't say excuse me before. And, one of them is, you know, not very charismatic, just to be nice about it. And so, if one of the friends decided to not do it anymore, which ended up happening because I think he had a death in the family, and so he took it really hard, which is 100% understandable. I know what that is like. I have to be cautious that I don't have the money I'm used to having. So if you know, you can't really plan for shit like that. Bird feather, medium. But if it was just going to be us two, you know, if I was going to be a silent Let's Player where all you see is just the gameplay, like 100%, like no talking, and like what you're deriving from the video itself is just the entertainment of watching someone play a game without saying anything, then that's 100% different. But what I'm trying to sell to people is my personality and my behaviorisms, the way I talk. You know, that's what I'm trying to sell to people. I don't think I've ever gone into this room. Okay. Well, there's a first time for everything. Not that there was much in there worth writing home about. But, like... Anyways, I told that story, and this is my commentary style, is I'll tell one story to tell another story.
Was that fancy ring a present for...
Yeah, kind of. Oh, so we have to go downstairs. Although, not down, we have to go up. So when I start uploading these videos to YouTube, they're going to be very different. They're not going to be the, watching all the dialogue, talking to all the people. Like, this is going to be me playing the game at my leisure. Yeah, thank you. Limit Duo. Completely worthless.
Let's get this
until you
over
get
with.
Limit Trio. I'm gonna have to remember to do all this again.
Here. Here.
Alright, screw off, dude.
Who's next? Here.
Ugh. Stop attacking my opponent, bitch. Like, not to be mean, but away, like, different enemy from me, because I need one other person blocking that other asshole over there. Like, that's annoying because, like, you know, you'll be trying to focus on one guy, and then you have this little bitch right here running up to you and stopping you.
This power will make me stronger.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Judith. She is interesting. You know, like I said, Carol, he focuses on downed enemies. Like, that's where a lot of his power comes from, is he does more damage to enemies that are on the floor. Which is pretty cool, because if an enemy's on the floor, that means they're not attacking you, pretty much. So, it's a pretty neat play style, but it does take some practice to really get it down, you know.
Is that it? This is
I'll blow you away. Take this. Take this. You're dead. Divine Wolf. All right, who's next?
Like, sorry, I was concentrating for a second.
Take this.
Yes, take a nice long nap.
Like, they 100% nerfed the attack speed with axes. It was not that bad before. And I will do a playthrough of the original one just to make a comparison. And we'll see if it's just me being rose-tinted about it. But, like, her whole gimmick, to talk about, going back to talking about Judith, is she does lots more damage to aerial enemies. Here's the kicker, though, is that doesn't really work on bosses. So, in my opinion, she's 100% worthless in a boss fight. Because most bosses won't stay airborne for long, if at all. Like, they will fall back to the ground, they'll break out of being stunned, because that's what bosses do in this game. Is anytime they just don't feel like being staggered anymore, they'll stop. So you have to be aware of that too when you play through this game. Is it like you see all these fancy combo videos and stuff, but you also have to realize that chances are those won't work outside of doing a combo exhibition. Like, you won't be able to do those long stringed combos on enemies that are bosses, because you cannot kill bosses with fatal strikes.
Hey, I learned something.
You can only kill regular people with fatal strikes. So, you know, just equipping minimum damage and going to town with these super cool looking long combo strings is one thing, but it's not doable in a boss fight. It just simply isn't. You can't kill them. And you'll be there, you know, doing 1 damage, and you'll be there for like an hour fighting the boss. And, you know, that's your prerogative, obviously, but it's not something I want to do. Like, realistically, long-ass combo chains are only really possible, like, on certain bosses. Like, Giganto monsters, yeah, you can keep those fuckers in big old long combo chains all the time. But, like, Duke, for example, the final boss, 2nd form Duke and 3rd form Duke, you can't. You can't even knock him airborne for long. You can knock him on the ground, so there's a case to be made for Carol being used in boss fights, and also because, you know, he's the game's resident off healer.
I'll blow you away. Azure Edge. Crushing eel. You're dead.
He's the game's resident off healer. Sorry,
I got a little worked up.
that's also one of my quirks, is when I have to concentrate for like making sure my combos are timed right and shit. It's hard for me to talk and do combos at the same time.
Don't hurt us now.
But like Carol, you can make the case to bring it to a boss fight.
Take this.
But like Judith, no. And even bigger enemies that can't be lifted off the ground, she can't do jack shit about. Like, in theory, she is an interestingly designed character.
What the? Like this? What the?
You lose.
But in practice, she's better for a little more than just regular fights. That's fine. Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry about that. That's fine. Do not use. Let's see, we're on the 2nd floor. Like, this game is way hard, like, and it feels, I mean, it's like this in the base game. But this game, they nerfed a lot of things about certain characters.
Go easy on them.
Like, the axe attack speed was not this low in the 360 version.
Alright, who's next?
It is painfully slow.
Sorry for being so strong.
Don't toot your own horn, bitch. You're barely stronger than, I don't know. You're certainly not stronger than Carol. Like, you can watch combo exhibition videos, and her combos look really cool. But you need to, like, those videos are just demonstration videos. Like, that's really what the only purpose they're serving is to showing you what is technically possible. But you won't realistically do them in everyday fights like this unless you are making a combo exhibition video. Either an enemy won't live long enough, or you have to purposefully set all the other characters to not do anything so you can sit there, and it has to be a one-on-one fight. So there's tons and tons of conditions that have to be met before you can even attempt, you know, something like that. And realistically, like I said, realistically, it's not going to happen. So this is the first time, and I know I jumped to lots of tangents and shit like that. I'm sorry, it's just my brain, that's how it works. I'll be talking about one thing and then switch to something else, and then I'll come back to what it was. So if you could stick with me, and sometimes I don't even come back to what I was talking about, so forgive me for that as well.